Hey everybody, hope you're having a great week so far. So hopefully this video will provide you with the information you need, and keep in mind if you feel like the information is going by fast, lots of students go back and watch these videos several times and kind of stop them when they get to a point where they feel like, okay, I need you to stop talking so I can go in and try this. Then it's easy to stop me. Just push the pause button and I will automatically quit talking on your computer. I promise it works every time. In class, it's a little harder. Sometimes I just keep going. But if it's a video, you got a guarantee stop for my explanation. If I am talking in class and you need me to pause, please be sure to be clear with me. I'm happy to pause there also to give you time to ask questions. All right, so I'm starting at the beginning. So I'm in Module 2, and I'm going to walk you through what you will see each time for our modules for the next dozen or so modules in the course. Every time you'll have a learning summary opportunity that goes with the Advanced Organizer. You'll also have that formative assessment that's optional, and extra resources and content. And then you'll have these behavior modules. We're starting at A and they go all the way up through J, one a module. And so there'll always be a link. So you click on the link, it's going to take you to a Google Doc, because you know I love my Google Docs. And once the Google Doc opens, there's going to be some scenario information, some background. In every module, we're going to be learning more and more about Samantha, and the modules are set up to walk you through kind of a real-life scenario of what really happens in a classroom. Samantha's story is based on a student that I had when I was in the classroom, and Mr. Brecht represents a teacher that I worked with in the past. And so you're going to get a feel for a real life scenario. I've changed the names of the student and the name of the teacher. But what you see with the student scenario is very much in real time what I experienced as a teacher, what you will experience as a teacher with different students, and hopefully it'll give you a feel for how things work, rather than just getting a case study and saying, here's a bunch of information. This is just step by step, week by week, what's going on. So you're going to read about Samantha and Mr. Brecht and a report, and then you're always assuming the role of me, of the special education teacher, and the you should be you, and you'll call yourself me, right? But it's your interpretation of what's going on. We're going to remember that, like going to McDonald's from school, I could go about 15 different routes. One route is going to be the fastest route, but I can go other ways. I can go around the block a different way. I can pause and stop at Big Lots first. I can get gas. I can go all different places. But eventually the goal is McDonald's. And it's the same way with behavior interventions. There are often multiple interventions that might be appropriate, but there's often one intervention that's most expedient to get us to the support that a student needs. So don't ever feel like there's one answer and I didn't pick the right one. As teachers, we're doing our best job to choose research-based and evidence-based practices, but sometimes we need to tweak those interventions as we go, or choose a different intervention, and that's perfectly okay. So you're going to read about Samantha. There are often hyperlinks within, so you're going to open up these two links, excuse me, and it's going to give you an event recording sheet if you'd like to write things down on paper. There's information that tells you a little bit more about what we're going to be doing, and basically we're going to be collecting data. So the very first set of baseline data that we've collected is right here. So here's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday's data. And all of the information above is just background information. Now, here's what you're actually going to do. You're going to create a Google Sheet. So that means that you need to go into your Google Drive. And so I'm going to go to my Google Drive. Remember that you'll need to be logged in with your EKU email to get to your Google Drive, and I usually use Chrome, so I'm coming right on over here to my EKU Google Drive, And I'm here with all my class notes, but I'm going to go back to my drive. And if you haven't already done this, what you're going to do is create a new folder. I'm going to create a new folder right here, and I'm going to label that folder SED 390 Behavior Modules, and that'll help you store information. If you want to store other things in there, you're welcome to do that. You can name it something different if you want, but that's what I'm going to roll with. And then after I create that, then I'm going to open this blank folder up, and then I'm going to go here and say New Google Sheet. Yes, give me a blank spreadsheet. And I'm going to name this new spreadsheet SED 390, and it's loading slowly. SED 390 Behavior Modules. Oops, you can do it all with the right kind of capitals. And my last name. Then I'm going to go over here to this sharing settings. Right now it said private only to me. That won't help get feedback from my instructor. So there's several different ways you can get a shareable link. Sometimes people want to type in an email address, and I absolutely do that sometimes. But for the purposes of this assignment, you need to click on Get Shareable Link. And right now it says anybody at EKU can view. That's fine, but that's not going to be as helpful to you as if you hit or click on this button and click on Can Comment. If you give me Can Comment, it means that I'll be able to put a little comment bubble up into your spreadsheet and give you feedback, which can be super helpful, especially if you're having trouble with the layout. The Can Comment makes things much easier. So now I'm going to copy this link and say Done. And then to complete this assignment, I would recommend at that exact moment, I've got this link copied, I'm going to go back into course content, and I'm going to click on this assignment, and I'm going to go ahead and submit this live link. Now some of you are like, but I didn't do any work yet. It's okay, because Google Docs automatically update. So even though I'm submitting my link now and I haven't actually done the work, I'm going to do the work in the next few minutes before the due date, but I've already submitted it, so I don't have to worry about that step. So once you click on submit, and it will absolutely work for you, it won't work for me because I'm logged in as an instructor, but then that part is done, and then you can go back and finish all the steps. This is true of any Google product. It will not freeze your Google document, Google Sheets in time for when you submitted that. You will continue to work on your assignments, and I'll always see the very most recent thing you've done. And that is perfectly fine and encouraged. All right, so here in this column, column A, this is always going to be our baseline data. And sometimes people do this with dates, and that's perfectly fine. And sometimes people do this by sessions. So like this will be session 1, this will be session 2, this will be session 3, session 4, session 5. So when I go back to my assignment and I'm looking at the information, it says that Monday's data was 12 and Tuesday's data was 18. So Monday counts for session 1. So this is actually the sessions or dates, and column 2 is where I put baseline. Now notice how here I wrote the wrong piece of information originally, and then I'm like, oh, that was wrong. It's okay, just fix it. Not a big deal. I'm going to center this so it's a little easier, and sometimes I even go ahead and make this column a color so that it really stands out to me that this is baseline data. This is not, the actual data itself. This is the session numbers, right? And you all will use the right language when you're doing this. All right, there we go. Whoops. Okay. So column A are the sessions or the dates. Either one is fine. And then the baseline is going to go here. And the first day's baseline was 12. The second day's baseline is 18, so that goes next. The next day's data is 15, and so on. So I'm recording my baseline. And I'm going to record baseline for as long as it happens. Then the next column is going to be my intervention data. And sometimes we're going to be learning about all different kinds of interventions we can put in, but let's just pretend for now that we've got an A, B design. So A is always baseline, B is our interventions. So the baseline data is going down. Let's say that baseline ends after 5 sessions. And at session 6, I'm going to start my intervention. Well, in order for things to be graphed correctly, my baseline data, and I'm just going to put in a number here, this is not accurate, but just to give you the idea, that the intervention data is going to go in column C, and I'm going to, let me go ahead and finish this out for you so that you can see this a little bit more correctly represented. 18, 17. Okay, so all the baseline data is here in column B. The intervention data starts in column C, and you're going to start that in the very next row. And the reason for that is when you go to graph it, you want the graph not to have overlapping data points. And I'll show you more about this in class. But for now, please just take my word for it and put your baseline data in column B, have sessions or dates over here, and you will be on your way to a great start for your data collection. If you've got any questions, then be sure to ask me in class about how we're graphing the data. As you're following the directions, you're going to see that right now we have created our Google Sheet. We've labeled it with our name. We didn't name the current tab at the bottom, so I'm going to do that, and it's supposed to be called S off task. So let me go back here, and I need to shrink my page a little bit so you can see those. So see where it says Sheet here? I'm going to double click on this, and it lets me name this C off task. And then if you look back at the directions, it says create a new sheet, and that will do that, and then name this questions, module questions. So when I click on this new sheet page, which is here, then I'm going to just type the answers to my questions. So this would be behavior module A, question responses, and then I can just go down here and type the answer to number 1, type my answer, the answer to number 2, type my answer, and then when we go to the next module, I'll say behavior module, and I'll change this to B, or whatever the next module's questions are. Not all modules have questions. This one does have questions that you'll be answering, and there it says answer the 2 questions from above on this page, which means I need to scroll up here and find the questions. The questions are here. I will highlight them for you so that they're really obvious. The questions are here in light green. So these are the questions you want to answer. And those questions you're going to answer right here on the Questions tab. The data is here on the first sheet. And you should be well on your way to having completed the directions for this assignment. If you want to learn more, you can look at this example, and there's also another video that I made that you're welcome to watch that will walk you through how to create a graph. All right, well, I think this covers the beginning knowledge we need. If you've got other questions, please go ahead and ask them in our notes page or ask them in the course Blackboard shell. Either place is a good spot for questions, and I will look forward to chatting with you soon in class.